Hi and welcome to this week's video. In this video, I've not showing you any more painting bits, I don't think. I'm trying to remember exactly what I will be showing you. There's the front combing or deck area is starting to be built up, which is nice. A lot more work to be done in that. And the engine mounts have been fabricated, so they're yet to be tested. Hopefully I've got those right. I've yet to make up some washers and bits and pieces which are needed for those. But let me show you what I've been up to. Come on then. Okay, so just going to clean up the washers on the wire wheel here, just to get rid of some of the surface bits, make sure it's clean. So I must admit, I thought I lost it there for a minute, but there we go. The washer, sort of do it 3 parts on each side like that, and just make sure it's clean. Now the next section is to drill that out to the right size for the tube to go through and counterbore it. I'll just carry on and do the rest of these. Okay, so I'm just going to deburr this this washer, dress up the edges. So I've got a bolt, well, slotted machine screw with a nut on there, and then the other nuts are just there to protect the thread in the chuck, rather than just clamping the thread in there. I'm using 180 grit wet and dry strip. Just check that feels smooth. Yeah. So it's on to the next one. So drilling out the washers to 9.5mm, and then I'll ream them the rest of the way, just clamping them on with these G clamps, which is not the best G clamps, so they tend to have a little slip and wander. So we'll see what we can do. Reasonably tight. There we go. Seven more to go. Okay, so just countersinking, got a rose bit countersinking piece in the pool drill, clamping 2 of these in at a time, and drill set at a low speed. So we'll try. There we go, countersunk about a third of the way in. That's all I want, so just a little bit more area for the weld to build into. So there's 2 done, 6 more to go. Okay, so the washers, these have been pressed on. So I've got the 43.2 millimeters from there to there to account for the rubbers on the engine mount. Hence because they're that close to fit, hence the requirement for the counter bore and the countersink in the back there, so we can get the weld right into that corner in the bottom there, and then this will be built up so it'll have, you know, quite a nice sort of little fillet of weld going all the way around. Quite a high amperage to make sure I've got good penetration into the tube and into the washer, but not so much that I burn through. And then I've got another spacer tube bit which I'm going to use as a jig, and I'll press on the other washer and tack weld on the side. Let me show you my little jig bits. So these aluminium sections act as a spacer that's been bored out, so it's a loose fit. So that sits flat on there, because as soon as I tack this, it'll open up and it'll try to drop through. So I can get that tacked on, and then I have that little spacer bit so I can put the other washers on, press that on. I can get in and do a tack weld, turn it around, do a tack weld, and I can take it off and go all the way around. Okay, I'll get cracking. I'm not going to show you the welding on the grounds my camera won't cope with the bright light. Okay, well there's the first sort of weld been done, going around. It's got sufficient strength and bits. You can actually sort of see that this heat has gone through and is starting of puddling on that side, so I know I've got good penetration going through. I'm just going to tidy these up. I'll put them on the lathe and tidy those bits up and make sure everything's clean along the edge, and then I'll put the other washers on and weld those up, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like, all painted, ready to go. Well, there we are. There's the finished product. It's had a coat of paint, quite wacky. What I did was I actually re-welded them a little bit, put a bit of extra weld, and then put it in the lathe and turned the weld down. I thought that looked smoother and neater. So there we go, that's the end product. Well, these are the bits which cause the time consuming. It doesn't look a lot, but if you're a builder you will know that making up little bits like this to fit around tubes and things like that is the time consuming part. So this is the bit just to go in front of the cabane strut. So there it is, fitted. So it doesn't look like a lot of anything, but it takes time. Well, I'm starting to sort out the front section here of the combing. I've made this too wide. It should be, I'm going to go for about 20 centimeters, 200mm long once it's there, but I've got about an extra ½ inch or so, 15mm too long. Allows me to get these cutouts sorted out, final sort of position, and I can trim off any sort of corrections. These battens on here are to give the profile going sort of front here to back to make sure everything sort of falls in line. So when it's sort of in place it should be about right. Sticking up a bit at the moment because it's on top of the other section there. So a good chunk of work to go. It's a little bit of a time consuming, take your time over it sort of job. This one's I'm about an hour into it now so far, and but we're getting there. We are getting there. I think it should work out quite nicely. We'll find out when I finish. I'm going to keep this as a sort of straight line rather than a curved line, so rather than making this go straight up and over, which would mean that there'd be a curve in it, I'm keeping it straight, It'll make it easy for the next panel forward, because that'll keep that line straight. So I'll get that panel sorted out to just behind these cabane fixtures, and then I'll sort out the front section. We'll see what goes on really. This edge here will be reinforced with two layers of 16th ply, about 1.5 inches wide, so we've got 3/4 of an inch sticking out forward for the next panel to lay on, and 3/4 of an inch going back into here to give the strength, and that'll be laminated on with this in position, load of battens on. I can clamp in the two pieces, and that'll actually help to stiffen it all up as well. It'll act as a sort of a lamination going across. I'll have a look at it like that, and if I think it needs to be a little bit stiffer, I'll use a piece of 1/8 by 1/2 strip, just to give it that even extra little bit, and bond that in. But we'll see when we get there whether we need it or not. But it needs to be fairly rigid, because the screen's going to be going onto it. It's going to get quite a chunk of rigidity on the fact it's curved, but having the screen on, which will go back to about this sort of line here, will give it a chunk more rigidity. But I need it to be rigid going all the way forward. The forward front deck or combing is coming on. We've got nice gap there, equal all the way up, which will be filled in with a bit of wood flour and resin. I've yet to chamfer the edge of the side ply to accept this to sit it absolutely perfectly. This cutout works out really nicely. Not everything in life works out as you'd like it. The gap here is a little bit bigger than I would like, so I'll be making the filler piece a little bit wider. There's going to be a filler piece in across here around the cabane, similar to these ones here. Anyway, so it just means that one's going to be a little bit longer to cope with that, because we've got a strip going down, and this is all being bonded together. Not sure about the front decking sections yet. I'd like the next one along to go to halfway across the tubes here. But next video, hopefully I will finish off this piece here, get in a strip hopefully there, and all the infills, maybe double arch it with the ply strip as talked about, to make it a little bit more rigid, and then I can start working forward on here. That's one area I'd like to get to do some work on. The other area I'd like to do some work on is the engine mount. I want to make up the ply washers that get bonded to the front face of the wall there. Then I can put some aluminium shim pieces in, and we can use those engine standoff mounts that I've made with the engine back plate and the starter motor in place, and just check out how everything's going to fit together that way. That'll be a bit of interest for myself. And the other thing I may do is I may start putting in some of the pilot aware antennas and bits and pieces into the back, and have a look at the headrest. So lots of things which need to be done. How much I actually manage to get done really is determined by the weather, so whether I go flying or not, and how much time I actually get when I get back from work. We'll see. So hopefully you are all remaining fit and healthy, and catch you in the next video. Bye now.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.